Let us continue with our analysis of Thomas Gray's Elegy written in a country churchyard. In stanzas 4 to 7, the poet talks about the daily life of the rustics buried in the churchyard. He writes, "Beneath those rugged elms, that yew-tree's shade, where heaves the turf in many a mouldering heap, each in his narrow cell forever laid, the rude forefathers of the hamlet sleep." Beneath those rugged elms, that yew-tree's shade. Rugged elms are the rough trees. Elm is a kind of a English tree having large branches, and rugged because of their age. Yew is a kind of evergreen tree often seen in churchyards. Heaves the turf. Heaves means rises. Turf is grass. Mouldering means crumbling away, being gradually leveled with the ground. This was because the graves belonged to the poor people and they were not made of stones. Heap is a mound. Each in his narrow cell forever laid, each of the rude forefathers of the hamlet. Narrow cell is the grave, and it is contrasted with the large burial spaces of the rich, forever laid. Forever laid means that these people are dead, lie buried, sleep. They lie buried in their narrow cells, that is the graves. So what the poet is saying here is that in this churchyard are buried the simple and ignorant ancestors of the present generation living in the village. They lie buried under the shade of that cluster of rough elm trees and that yew-tree which I see over there, their graves being marked by mounds of earth which is slowly crumbling away. Note that Gray speaks of the poor throughout the poem, the poor who live in villages as contrasted with the rich, the people who live in cities and who were buried inside the church with stately monuments over their tombs. The breezy call of incense-breathing morn, the swallow twittering from the straw-built shed, the cock's shrill clarion or the echoing horn, no more shall rouse them from their lowly bed. Breezy call? It's the call of the breeze. Incense-breathing, that is, sending forth fragrant smells, which of flowers. Incense is a kind of fragrant substance which is burnt at the time of worship. Swallow is a migratory bird. Twittering means singing. Straw-built shed, the thatched veranda in front of their huts. The cock's shrill clarion, the loud crowing of the cock. Echoing horn, the sound of the huntsman's bugle that starts echoing in the early morning, which is the usual time of hunting. Rouse them, awaken them from sleep, their lowly bed, their humble bed. The poet is saying that neither the sweet-smelling breeze of the morning nor the chirping of swallows from their nests in the thatched roofs of cottages, nor the crowing of the cock, nor the sound of the huntsman's bugle that starts echoes, will ever again waken them, that is, waken the dead rustics from sleep, as they used to do when they were alive. Such beautiful images. The poet continues to draw attention to experiences, to things that the dead will never again enjoy. He says, "For them no more the blazing hearth shall burn, or busy housewife ply for her evening care. No children run to lisp their sire's return, or climb his knees the envied kiss to share." Hearth is the fireplace burning inside the homes. Shall, the use of shall with the third person here suggests the decree of fate, what is destined to happen. Or busy housewife ply her evening care. Ply, perform, that is, the rustics or the farmers or the ploughmen, when they returned home in the evening, were taken care of by the housewife. They enjoyed the warmth of the blazing hearth, but they will, because now they are dead, they will never experience all this again. Evening care, the duties of the evening. The meaning is that their wives will no more have the supper ready for them. No children run to lisp their sire's return. Lisp is to greet. Lisp is when words are not spoken properly. That is, lisp means with broken words of welcome, when the child is still learning to speak. Their sire's return, that is, their father returning home, or climb his knees the envied kiss to share, or crawl up the legs of his father to be lifted up by him in his arms and kissed, the envied kiss, their father's kiss, which each one jealously tried to receive first. Such warm images. So what the poet is saying here is that their death has cut them off from the happiness of home. Their wife will no more light a cheerful fire to welcome them in the evening when they returned home at the end of the day's work. She will no more have the supper ready against their arrival. Their children will no more run forward to greet them in their childish accents on their return home after the day's work. Nor will the children any more attempt to clamber on his knee and receive their kiss, in the matter of which they were very jealous of one another. The poet further says, "Oft did the harvest to their sickle yield, their furrow oft the stubborn glaive has broke. How jocund did they drive their team afield, how bowed the woods beneath their sturdy stroke." So the poet continues to inform the reader about the work that these people did. Oft did the harvest to the sickle yield. Harvest is the ripe corn standing in the field. And how at the stroke of their sickle it yielded, it gave way. The poet is also telling us that these village peasants had reaped the crop of many seasons and years, and year after year they had cut the ripe crop. The furrow of the stubborn glaive has broke. Furrow is the act of furrowing or ploughing. Stubborn is hard and glaive is soil. So the stubborn soil, it tells us about the the labor involved in farming. But in the very next line, it tells us how jocund did they drive their team afield. That is, they were never weary working in the fields. They were merry, they were happy, they enjoyed their labor. Look at the exclamation mark at the end of the sentence. How jocund did they drive their team afield? So they enjoyed driving their team of oxen in the fields. How bowed the woods beneath their sturdy stroke. How bowed the woods. Bowed means fell down. And woods means the trees of the forest. And sturdy stroke is the vigorous blow. So in this, here there is a tacit metaphor comparing the forest trees to soldiers who are cut down in battle. So what the poet is here saying is that year after year, these village peasants reap their crops in the proper season and plough the farmlands with great labor. Very cheerfully, indeed, they drive their team of oxen or horses as they worked through the field, and very vigorously did they hew down the forest trees with their axes. So in these lines, the poet has proceeded to speak of the poor people, the ancestors of the rustic population of the neighborhood who lie deep buried under the elm and the yew in the country churchyard. Nothing can wake them from their everlasting sleep. They can no longer enjoy the family gathering round the fireplace when they returned home after the day's work. And these poor people did the humble work of cultivation and enjoyed their labor. So I'll stop here and we will continue with the poem in the next lecture. Thank you.